Julius Malema, the head of the EFF, warned angrily against any effort at electoral fraud during the next elections during a speech at the Chila rally in Polokwane. Please kindly hit on the subscribe button as we go into the details. Malema vowed vehemently that the EFF would not put up with any nonsense, particularly when it came to the vital procedure of counting votes. Malema took a clear shot at former President Jacob Zuma by criticizing people who are not good at counting votes and implying that others with comparable shortcomings need to be excluded from the voting process. The supporters in attendance enthusiastically cheered his statements and waved banners and EFF flags in accord. Malema specifically addressed party agents who were in charge of supervising the counting in her appeal for caution. He underlined the need of care and skill and issued a warning that the EFF would act swiftly and decisively in the event that any indications of foul play or manipulation were detected. With a voice that echoed across the rally grounds, Malema said, "We will not stand by while the will of the people is undermined. We will sabotage the vote counting procedure until senior voting officials step in if any presiding officer braves mischief." Applause and a feeling of resolve were shown by the EFF leader's followers in response to his remarks. Many echoed Malema's belief that maintaining the integrity of the election process at all costs required their steadfast support. Malema's statement was made in the midst of rising hostilities and worries over the integrity and transparency of the impending elections. The political environment is more divided than ever. Therefore, there are unquestionably significant stakes involved. Even a little indication of improper behavior might have far-reaching effects. Malema's audacious position is a call to action for justice and accountability as the country prepares for a critical juncture in its democratic history. The EFF is prepared to protect the integrity of the voting process and make sure that democracy wins out, even with all eyes on them. Once more, there are apparently growing tensions inside the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, as the country's political scene prepares for the results of the next election. It is expected that the party, under Julius Malema's leadership, would experience severe internal conflict and perhaps split as a result of broken promises and the leadership's divisive style. These factors have the potential to change the EFF's position in South African politics and its future. The flamboyant and divisive Julius Malema has represented the EFF since its founding. His advocacy for resolving social injustices and economic inequalities has been characterized by audacious campaign pledges. But with the election results approaching, doubts are mounting over the EFF's ability to live up to the lofty standards that Malema's rhetoric has established. Based on preliminary analysis, it seems that the EFF may not meet its high expectations. Even with a large amount of money and time invested in the election, the party's predicted vote percentage is predicted to be below its target. Malema's unmet promises and apparent arrogance have caused certain elements of the electorate to become disenchanted, which is directly linked to the predicted deficit. Malema's leadership style is at the heart of the EFF's dissatisfaction. Party opponents contend that his often lofty and vague promises have not materialized into real advantages for his followers. Malema's program has placed a strong emphasis on issues like wealth equality, nationalization of companies, and land redistribution. However, putting these plans into action has been fraught with difficulties. Party members and supporters are becoming more and more irritated and disillusioned due to this disconnect between promises and deliveries. The internal strife is a response to Malema's leadership style as well as broken promises. It has been suggested that his combative and sometimes polarizing speech may lose the party votes. Though inspiring to some, Malema's public remarks and deeds have been seen as divisive by a larger portion of the population. Internal conflicts within the party have been made worse by this apparent haughtiness and reluctance to interact positively with opponents or dissidents. Following the declaration of election results, the EFF is probably going to go through a time of reflection and maybe turmoil. There is a strong chance that the party may split, since certain groups are demanding a new head. This movement is propelled by the conviction that the party must break away from controversial leader Julius Malema in order to be viable in the long run and instead take a more inclusive and practical stance. The ramifications of a possible split in the EFF are enormous.